everyone, my name is Miss Lily and I'm a librarian here at the Rust Public Library. So today I am going to show you how to make scratch art paper. So some of you may have done scratch art before. Scratch art paper is something that you can buy at an arts and crafts store, and usually it's either white paper or rainbow colored paper that has this kind of black chalky layer, and you use something sharp like a skewer or a toothpick to scratch away that top layer and create drawings with the layer underneath. So I think it's a really fun art project, and it's actually something you can create at home with some pretty common art supplies. So I'm going to show you how to make your own scratch art paper at home. Alright, so the supplies you're going to need are going to be some sort of paper. Thicker paper like cardstock is better. Something thinner like printer paper isn't going to be sturdy enough to hold up to the layers that we're going to put on it. If you don't have cardstock, you could recycle thin cardboard, like the type of cardboard you'd find on like cereal boxes or cracker boxes and things like that. Or you could even use a paper plate, but you do just want it to be a little bit on the thicker side. So the first layer on our paper is going to be the rainbow layer, and I'm going to use oil pastels for this. I like oil pastels because they're softer than crayons, so it makes it easier to blend the colors together, but you can also use crayons. That probably more people have crayons at home. Both work in the same way, that they create the rainbow colors underneath, but they also create a barrier between the paint and the paper. So either will work, oil pastels or crayons. Then to create the scratch off layer, you are gonna need some acrylic paint, just regular old craft acrylic paint. And to make it easier to scratch off, we are going to mix it with dishwashing soap. All right. You are also gonna need either a paintbrush or a sponge brush to put your paint on, and then once it's dry, you're going to need something sharp to scratch off that top surface. I have a skewer. You can use a toothpick, popsicle sticks, whatever you have lying around, okay? So I'm going to change my camera angle so you can see what I'm doing with my hands, and I'm going to show you how you can make your own scratch art paper. Alright, so now that you can see what I'm doing, we've got our cardstock and we've got our oil pastels. So basically, you can do whatever design that you want, but you want it to cover the whole paper. So I find overlapping tends to help because, and I'm just going to start drawing while I talk. But overlapping really helps with your colors, because that way if there's any little spots that you didn't quite cover, overlapping with the next color tends to kind of smush it all together. And the reason you want to make sure you get all these colors really on here is because this is going to create a barrier between your paper and your paint. And that barrier is what allows you to scrape the paint off later. If you don't have that barrier in between the paper and the paint, when you go to scratch off your artwork, it's going to take everything off because it's going to be stuck to the paper. So like you can see, whenever I add a new color, I really kind of overlap it a little bit. And you also really want to smush this in. This is not the time to be gentle with your crayons or your oil pastels. This is also a really great project to do if you've got like little crayon ends, like little broken bits, because you're really gonna just wear your crayons down doing this. And that's okay. So if you have a bag of broken crayon bits, this is a great project to use those up. And you can probably see this table is shaking a little bit because I'm pushing so hard it is. You really want to mush it in. So to save time, I'm going to show you the next step through the magic of video. I'm going to bring in one that's already done. So once it's finished, you want it to be completely covered from edge to edge. You'll notice I put some scrap paper down on this table. You probably want to do that too, because you really want to go all the way to the edge to cover your whole project. And so you're gonna, as you're coloring, you're gonna run over onto whatever surface you're using. So put some, scrap paper or some newspaper or something down so you don't get crayon all over your table. So the other thing is, once I get it all filled up, the next thing you want to do is, you might notice, especially if you're using the oil pastels, you're going to get little crumbly bits. I want to kind of get those off because the paint will stick in it. And then the other thing you want to do is look to see if you've got any spots, like here's up here, you can still see some of the white of the paper. So you can either get your crayon and go over it again, or if you don't mind being messy, you can just use your finger to kind of mush it all together. So you want to do that, to go back through, and any little white spots you see of the paper, shining through, you want to go in and really mush that, because like I said, you really want to make sure there is something in between that paper and that paint. Okay. Like I said, we're going to get all the little loose crumbly bits also, because the paint's going to want to stick to that, and we want to have a nice even surface for our paint. So then to mix the paint, I just have a little paper cup here. Like I said, we're just going to use some regular acrylic paint, and it's about 50-50, which you'll see here, it's about 50-50 between the paint and the soap. So I don't know, that's maybe what, like a tablespoon. Do a little bit more of paint, and then you want an equal amount of soap in there. Whoops, I'm getting it on my painting because I'm looking at the camera and not what I'm doing. That's okay though, it'll all blend together. All right, so you want to mix it, be kind of gentle because you don't want to get big bubbles in your paint. All right, and then the next step is to just put the paint all over your lovely rainbow drawing. Usually one coat is enough. If you want to do 2 coats, that's fine. I personally don't think there's anything wrong if you can see a little bit of the rainbow through. It'll also tend to darken up a little bit as it dries. I find kind of the best method to get it all in one coat is to go, in one direction, either horizontal or vertical, and then go back in the other direction, and that seems to really kind of cover everything all at once. And again, you want to put down some paper because you want to go all the way to the edge. I tend to kind of leave one little corner so I can use my hand to hold the paper in place, and paint that little corner last. Alright, almost done. One little corner here, so oopsie. It can get a little bit messy, but that's okay. We are all washable. And honestly, most of the time acrylic paint is also washable, so if you get it on your clothes, it's probably okay. All right, so you want to let that dry. Now, if you're super impatient and you don't want to let it dry, you could actually get a Q-tip and draw on it while it's wet, and it will work the same, but it is a lot messier because you really got to watch where your hands are so you don't get paint all over you. I think it's more fun to wait for it to dry, so I'm going to move this one out of the way. Set this over here to dry. And then this is what your scratch art's going to look like when it's done. So just, it looks like a black piece of paper. You can maybe kind of see here and there some of the rainbow bits going through. But then you're going to take your sharp object. Like I said, I have a skewer. You can use a toothpick and basically draw whatever you want. So I'm gonna, let's see, I love these rainbow colors. Let's see, let's do a little flower. It's super easy, like I said, once you get that paint on there and it dries, it's almost like chalk. It's super soft, so it's very easy to just scrape off whatever you want, and then you reveal that really cool rainbow effect underneath. This is also a cool project you can do on smaller pieces of cardstock and make bookmarks. You can do it on cardstock and make cards for people. So there's lots of really neat ways you can use this scratch art to create lots of different things. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you make some scratch art of your own at home, and if you would like to share it with us, you can always post it on our Facebook page or tag us on Facebook or Twitter at Loudoun County Libraries. I hope you guys enjoy this and have a great day.